All right, question 18. Some students are studying the relationship between organisms in a food web. And here we have a beautiful food web shown that we get to kind of dissect. First question I'd like to ask you, what type of food web is it? Is it land-based or is it freshwater or saltwater? Looking at the organisms, the blackberries and clovers and cottontails and all this good stuff, it looks like it is a land-based food web. So I'm going to write that down. Another word for that is terrestrial. All right, so now we're know what we're looking at. So let's see if we can find our producers for starters. Starting with our, now this one's kind of nice. We've seen some, and we will see some that aren't nicely where all the plants are right in the beginning or at the bottom. But here we have our blackberries, and here we have our clover. All right, so anything that consumes these plants, right? This is our plant or producer. And this one too. All right, so anything consumes these that is going to be a consumer, a primary consumer, or a herbivore. So let's look who's eating these plants. Well, the caterpillar's eating the plant, so primary consumer. Or herbivore. Okay, so who else is eating it? A raccoon. The raccoon's already also eating a gardener snake. So the raccoon is eating meat, right? It's eating meat here and plant here. So that makes the raccoon a different organism. The raccoon, because it can eat meat and plants, it's going to be an omnivore. Okay. And it depends on what food chain you look at to see what level he is. In this food chain of producer, primary consumer, gardener snake is secondary consumer, and in this level, this one, the raccoon would be a third level consumer in that chain. Remember, a web is just a bunch of chains put together. All right, so let's see who else is eating the blackberries. Well, the skunk is eating the blackberries. I want that color, purple. Or orange. I want orange. Okay, so the skunk is also a primary consumer, right? Because it's very first in line. So are the bird, the eastern cottontail, is also a primary consumer. All herbivores. So let's see. The vole, which is kind of like a mouse, a little bit bigger mouse, looks like it also eats the clover, so it is also another primary consumer. Herbivore, herbivore, herbivore. Okay? All right, so we're looking at the raccoons eating meat and plants, which makes them an omnivore. Let's see what else we have going on. The great horned owl, if we look at this line here, is a carnivore. He's a carnivore here. Eating meat here, carnivore. And this line, he's a carnivore. The red fox eats the cottontail, so that's a carnivore. What color do I have here? That's a carnivore. So the great horned owl is getting all of its food from meat, so the great horned owl is definitely a carnivore. There's no other sources here. It's not getting any food from anything else, all meat. Okay? The red-tailed hawks. The red-tailed hawks are eating the fox, but it looks like sometimes the fox eats the red-tailed hawk. It just depends on the situation. Red-tailed hawk's also eating the vole, which is a little bigger than a mouse, and it's also eating the skunk, and it's eating the bird. So the red-tailed hawk is another carnivore. Okay? So we're looking for an animal, it appears. It says how many predators are shown in this food web that are omnivores. Well, so far, as we've been labeling, it appears that we only have one organism that is actually eating plants and meats, and that is our raccoon. So there is no other organisms that do that in this food web. So it says record your answer and fill in the bubbles on your answer document. Well, we only have one organism, right? There's one omnivore present. And so if we wanted to record that on our answer document, here is the griddable, and we're just going to put, it's 1 is a whole number, so it's going to go right in front of that. Can y'all see that? It's kind of glary. Right in front of the decimal point, and then we would actually bubble in for 1. Okay? Any questions? All right.